Okay, so thank you so much for being willing to do this, Kortney. I've been so excited about this, and then I know both of us are like exactly the same amount pregnant, like 11, almost 12 weeks pregnant. It was crazy, and it was the holidays, but thank you for still being willing to do this with us. This is like a super exclusive Zoom that I put together just for my leaders. So everybody on here is people who's basically charted for like Ruby and above. So that's just so you kind of know like who you're talking to. But we have all kinds on here too: moms, college students, military, estheticians, like all kinds of people. So I have like questions for you, but first I would love for you to just give us like, you don't have to do like your whole story, but just an overview of your stories for those of them who don't know, so they understand like why we should take your advice and why you're so cool. So yeah, go ahead and share that with us.
Yeah, of course. After you've been in for almost 4 years, your story just gets longer and longer. So it's kind of hard to like put it all into like something small, because your life just life happens over, the course of 4 years. But I joined in April of 2015, and I'm sure most of you know who Kortney Bohr is. I joined under her. I followed her on social media for probably like, it was over a year. And back then I had probably 12 or 1300 followers, but I only followed like 200 or 300. And so back then they had the 3-3 rule. So like she posted all of the time, like 10 times a day. And so whenever I would get on Instagram, like that's all I would see was her post. And I'm like, there's no way this 19-year-old girl is making that much money. Like there's no way. And it got to where like her stuff was the only thing I was seeing. So I actually unfollowed her, like not because like it annoyed me or anything. It's just like that was the only thing I saw. And so I unfollowed her. And then she went through, the apps, like she unfollowed me because like I unfollowed her. Well, then she went on another following spree, I think, because then she like refollowed me like a couple weeks later. And I was like, she must really want to follow me. So like I just followed her back. I'm like, oh, well, she's cute, like whatever. So I went ahead and followed her back. And I was working full time. I was working 50 hours a week for a hospital, and I was going to Oklahoma State 18 hours, finishing up my degree. I was planning my wedding, and things were just really, really busy. It wasn't until I had a lifestyle change that I decided to inquire about the business. I had no idea about the business. I had no idea what it was going to entail. I was not experienced with network marketing, direct sales, like none of that. Like I was one of those ones that kind of like grew up hearing it's like a pyramid scheme, or like it would never work, or only the people at the top made money, or like I had no idea about any of it. But Ryan, who's my husband, we've been together 11 years. We were planning our wedding, and his dad suddenly passed away at 42 from a brain aneurysm. And it wasn't until all of that happened and I was wanting to be with Ryan on the weekends and stuff rather than working overtime and stuff that I wanted to be with him and spend more time with him and his family and help him through the stuff he was going through. So I just thought maybe an extra $500 a month would compensate for the overtime I was working. So I messaged Kortney. I actually commented on her post, and she actually didn't. She like back then Kortney got like 30 or 40 comments with people's like email addresses, and she actually didn't email me the info. I was like, okay. So then I like commented on one of her other posts like a few days later, and I'm like, I left my email, but you never sent me the info. So she emails me and she sends me the info. We talked over email for like 5 or 6 emails probably until she got my number. And then I signed up immediately. I signed up that night, and I had tried the hair, skin, and nails previously from another girl. Like I don't even know who she was. And I got really good results with it. So that's just what I started off with because I watched Kortney for over a year. So I knew exactly how she posted. I knew kind of how she worked her business and like what she said and all that stuff. So I just started posting exactly how she posted. It was just kind of like the blind leading the blind, but I just acted like I knew exactly what I was doing. My first week, I signed up 22 loyal customers, and I ended up going diamond in my first 30 days. I went double diamond in my first 2 months, triple diamond in 3 months, and presidential in 4 months. And then that was in July of 2015 that I went presidential diamond. And then I left my full-time job in September, and we got married in October, and I was able to help my parents pay cash for our wedding. And then in that December was the first It Works cruise, and I found out I was already a top 150 income earner. And then in March of 2016, I went ambassador, which is my 11-month mark. I wanted to do it before my 1 year, so I did it in 11 months. And then I kept telling Ryan, we wanted to start having kids. We had been together over 7 years. So like by the time we got married, we were ready for a family and stuff. But I wanted to go ambassador first because I didn't want to be pregnant and tired and like trying to go ambassador and be stressed all the time. So I was like, after I go ambassador, like we'll make it happen. So I went ambassador in March, and in April I found out I was pregnant. And I was like 5 weeks pregnant. So I was already pregnant. I just didn't know it yet. And so then I ended up having Riker in December of 2016. And now he is 2 years old. He's crazy. He's rambunctious. But it wasn't until I had him that I was really like thankful for this business. Like I've always been thankful for the business, but I had like another like life altering thing happen, and I had him 4 weeks early. I got preeclampsia, and I had him 4 weeks early in an emergency C-section. My blood pressure was like 187 over 126, and they couldn't get me stable. So I had to have him in emergency C-section. He got meta-flighted to the closest NICU because the hospital I was at, where I was not supposed to deliver, I'd never been with these doctors or nurses, didn't have a NICU. So they meta-flighted him to the closest NICU, and I had to go to the hospital where I was originally supposed to deliver with my doctor, and I didn't see Rucker for the first 11 days. He was with Ryan. Ryan was with him in the NICU. I was in a separate hospital. My mom went with me, and he came home 2 days. We had him on the 11th, and he came home, I think it was 2 days before Christmas. And it was just that very, like, if it wasn't for this business, Ryan would have had to be, be at work, or someone else would have had to be with him in the NICU, or we would have been stressed on how we were going to make ends meet, how we're going to pay our bills when we have this baby in the NICU. And like, so Rucker needed us. So it wasn't until that happened that you're like so thankful for the income and the freedom and stuff that this business offers you. And so that was in December of 2016, and 2017 and 2018 have been pretty calm years. And then I just took my 2.0 account to Diamond, and I earned, I think it was like 13 or 15.
Yeah, because you got the emerald and the diamond. So yeah, like 13, but well, 13,500. Yeah.
Double bonuses, and then I got the $7,500 diamond bonus. So it's actually like $20,000 worth of bonuses.
Oh my gosh, awesome.
18 for going diamond on my 2.0 account. So I'm an ambassador on my original account and diamond on my 2.0 account. And so I've been in the business almost 4 years. And then we just found out in October that we're expecting baby number 2. So
me and Kortney are Prego twins. We're literally 3 days apart, which is so fun. Kortney, your story always blows me away. And I know like that's like, because we got to connect and get to know each other better at the VIP retreat that was this summer. And I remember like saying to you, like, Kortney, like what you did was insane. Like people still talk about it. I remember you said, you were like, yeah, but like that was so long ago, like whatever. And I was like, no, like it's still incredible. And I know I have girls on here right now who are like presidential in 4 months, like they're shook. So that kind of leads me into my first question for you. So you were promoted fast, right? Like faster than average. So what do you think was the number one thing that caused that kind of momentum in your business?
Well, one is like when you catch the momentum, you have to keep it because it's really hard to get back. So when you have momentum, you don't want to take breaks. You don't want to be like, you don't want to put off the next promotion. You always want to be building for the next promotion. Like I know like when I promoted to Diamond, and I think too, I didn't know who anybody was. I didn't know, like I didn't have anybody to compare myself to. So I literally I didn't overcomplicate anything. I literally knew every box needed a person, so a distributor, whether I was going to get those distributors or my team, come together and get those distributors. Every box needed a person, and every person needed 400 in sales. That's literally all I looked at it as, whether I was going to get all of it or my team was going to help me, like it was my promotion. And I literally thought that was normal. Like I thought promoting that fast was just like what everybody did. Like I didn't know it was like unusual. And I didn't know a Jocelyn Yates. I didn't know Alyssa Bilyeu. I didn't know, I didn't know anybody. So like I didn't have anybody to compare myself to. I just worked, and I worked with my team, and like we had a ton of momentum, and we were just so freaking excited. And it was like the blind leading the blind. Like we really worked together, and we worked on our promotions. But once they came in, we were getting Ruby charts in front of them. We were getting Emerald charts in front of them. We were talking about what they could do because I was promoting really fast. So I knew if I could do it, my team could be doing it. So as soon as they were coming in, we were just literally throwing it at them and getting them going really strong. And I think sometimes we're so like careful about tiptoeing around like getting them started, and we want to start them off slowly so you don't overwhelm them. But I think I have the most success still when I just throw them in, like push them in the water, because it's, you think about tiptoeing in cold water. It's so much better if you just jump in. And so I think we were just getting everybody started strong and quickly, and we just had that momentum and we fed off of each other that we didn't really leave room for it to not happen. Like there was never a doubt in my mind that those promotions weren't happening because I thought that was normal. And so
right, you were like, I'm just gonna do this. Like I'm just gonna go diamond, and then I'm just gonna go double. Like
go triple. Right. Like I didn't have any doubt and no one was telling me I couldn't do it. They just
Right.
thought it was normal. So that's just what, there's no doubt.
Right. And you weren't looking left and looking right. You weren't like, oh, well, it took her, 2 years to go presidential. So like you were just going.
Laser focused. Like I just thought, and I remember Jade being like, oh my God, I cannot believe you just went presidential diamond in 4 months. And I'm like, isn't that normal? And she was like, no, it's not normal.
So,
Like,
I mean, it just goes to show, though, I mean, comparison is so brutal. And and I know we talked about this again at the VIP retreat. It's one of the things I've struggled with so much because, like, I've been in the business almost 3.5 years. And it's like, here I am at double. And, like, I've struggled to maintain and all of these things. And it's just like, but so much of it is, like, looking at people who, like, started 6 months after me or 6 months before me, and they're at this level or they're at this level. And it's like, but if I just put my head down and just got it done, then I would just be getting it done, instead of spending all this time and energy.
comparison game is just such a dangerous game to play because, like, you just have to realize that everybody has a different journey. And sometimes people are like, oh my God, you promoted so fast and it's so incredible. But what I think is incredible is Denise Walsh. She's a black diamond and she promoted to a new rank once a year. She went diamond and then another year went double, another year went triple. Like, she didn't promote to ambassador in 11 months. It took her 5 years. And she makes way more money than, she could ever fathom. But she didn't give up. She didn't think, oh, I'm not doing it fast enough. I'm not going ambassador fast enough. I'm not going black diamond fast enough. Like,
right.
She stuck it out and she worked her butt off for those 5 years before she went ambassador and then longer to go black diamond. And not once did she ever think it wasn't going to happen. She did it slower, but at the end of the day, we're both ambassadors.
And the belief was still there. I think that's like what you just touched on is really important. Like, there was never a doubt in your mind that you were going to go diamond, double, triple presidential ambassador. And she never had that doubt either. It just took her longer. Like, it doesn't mean that either of you had like doubt. It just was your journey.
Yeah. And I think, you get there, it doesn't matter how
right.
many, like, at the end of the day, like, we're going to be making the same amount of money. Like, it just,
right.
Everybody's journey is different. And also too, you have to think about what stage of life you're at, because when I started, yes, I was busy and I was a college student and I was a fiance. I was working and all that stuff, but I didn't have responsibilities I wasn't a mom. I wasn't a wife. I didn't have anything to worry about besides paying my bills and going out with friends. And, like, I didn't have those responsibilities.
No.
So you figure out where you're at, like, in life, and try really hard not to compare yourself because, like, where I'm at in my life now is totally different than where I was 4 years ago. And now you see, like, Morgan McIntyre coming up and you see Cheyenne coming up, and they're all, Morgan's not a college student, but, like, they're so young. Morgan just got married. Shay isn't married. She's 20 years old. Like, everybody's just in very different stages.
Right.
So you can't compare yourself and how fast it happens because everyone has something different going on in their lives.
Totally. Well, and I think also that really does just go to show too, like, it's not just one kind of person who's successful either. Cause like Jade had like a 1-2-year-old. Now she has 2.5 kids. She's still the number, right. Right. So I think that's important too. It's like, don't compare yourself, but if you're going to compare yourself in that way where it's like, if they did it, then I can do it, because there's so many different kinds of successful people in this business.
And you have to think about what it took for them to get there, because it doesn't happen overnight. I promoted really, really fast, but I worked so hard. Like, I was averaging probably 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, like, maybe. And I was super busy, but I worked so hard. So you can't, like, you have to look at, like, what they were doing to make that happen.
Right.
It didn't just happen, I promise.
Right. It wasn't just like, here you go, like, go presidential. Yeah. Okay. So, in terms of like finding leaders in your chart, right? Because I told you all of these girls who are on here are charted for ruby, emerald, diamond, almost charted for double diamond. So how do you like look at a chart and decide who you're gonna work with, like who you're gonna put in those? If you're a diamond, you're looking for an emerald and a ruby. If you're an emerald, you're looking for 2 rubies. How do you decide who those people are gonna be?
So the way I've always done it, and I kind of got away from it for a while because I started to like second guess. You kind of just go through phases. Like I said, I went ambassador, and people say like there's like an ambassador funk, and I'm like, oh, I'm at the height of my business. I'll never go through that. Like that will never happen to me. Oh, it did. And you go ambassador and you start to question everything you did to get to ambassador. Like, I went ambassador in 11 months, and then I felt like I had no idea how to even build a freaking ruby. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I felt like everything, like everybody that I brought in the business, like either quit or they didn't catch the vision, or they didn't want to do it, or I had leaders falling off, or I had leaders quitting and going to other companies. Like, it does happen. It happens to everybody. But like, and so I even went through a funk where I kind of got away from like doing what I did to get me to ambassador, because I started to feel like maybe I did it wrong, and I didn't, because I always built strong. And so, and it was fast, but it was always strong. I always had the stuff to maintain. And so I had to get back. It took me probably over a year, like after I had Riker, to like finally get back in the groove of like just doing what I did before. So it's what I've always done is, like I said, I always looked at my chart. I filled all my boxes first. Like, whether though that ruby, okay, if it's above a ruby, and I had to make sure they're working, because you want to look at it like, it was like kind of like a domino effect. So I always just looked at it like every single chart, every single rank is built up of rubies. So every ruby has an executive, and that executive has 2 400 boxes. So the executive is moving her volume to her 2 400 boxes, and that ruby is moving her volume to her 200 boxes. And it's what I would do if you look at it like that. And if your executive and your ruby, which they should be working, and your emerald and your diamond are all working, if you look at it, everybody always has 2 400 boxes they're moving to, and that's 800 volume. If everyone's working, it's so easy to get 800 volume in a full month if you're working for a promotion. But it takes everybody kind of coming together. So is what I would do at the beginning of the month is I would get with the people that I was using for executive, ruby, emerald, diamond, whatever rank you're going for. I got with all those leaders, executive above, and I would get with them one-on-one and be like, look, I'm going diamond. Say, I'm going diamond this month. I'm going for this $7,500 bonus. I really believe in you and think you could go emerald and you could be my leader, but I need to know if you're in. If you're in, I want to work with you. We're going to run together. If you're not, I need you to tell me now, and I'm going to use somebody else. Because if you put that out there, people do not want you to use somebody else. Like, they want you to use them. But you have to put it out there what you expect from them, because if they're not going to put forth the effort that you're going to put forth, you have to make people match your effort. And I think I just had so much momentum going on. People wanted that momentum, and they wanted me to use them. They not use them, but like, they wanted to be that leader on that chart, because they knew that if I was going for that promotion, I'd be helping them for their promotion, and so people want to be relied on. And I always looked at it too, like Courtney Bohr. I promoted so fast that she was able to use me for her presidential and her ambassador ranks, because I was already always where I needed to be. She never had to worry about my leg, because I became such a power leg right off the bat. She never had to worry about it. But my goal was to be that leg. Like, I wanted to be her promoting leg to where she didn't have to worry about me, but I wanted to be that leader on her team that was her power leg. Like, I wanted to be that person for her. And so you just have to put it out there, like, what you expect from them. And if they don't show up, go down, like, go to the next person. So the way I chart, like, I would put like someone in a ruby spot. So, hey girl, I'm going to help you go ruby. We're going to do this together. Da, 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 da. So then when you enroll another distributor, you put it under her. Well, instead of like putting your next distributor, like, as to make an executive, I would put it under the person that I'm going to use as the executive, because then if that ruby quits, you already have another ruby that's building, so you kind of have to build the ruby and the executive.
So you would say like build deep rather than wide.
Like super deep, but just for that ruby. Like, I would say, I'm the person I'm going to help go ruby. And then I enroll another distributor and I put it under her, or she enrolls her own distributor. When I enroll another distributor, I'm putting it under that. And then the next person will maybe go here and then stack on the top. That way, if that ruby quits, you're already building another ruby, and you're only 2 away, rather than having to be 5 away.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right.
So you already have to be building, so that you're not always having to completely do your chart and reuse people. But the best thing you can do is just letting them know your expectations from the beginning and know who you're using. And then get with them, let them know your expectations. And if they're in, let them know your expectations of what it's going to take to make that rank happen. And that you're not going to do it all for them, but you want to run with them. And I think, like, I'm very red, but I'm also like, so, I mean, coming at them, I'm like, this is what I expect. This is what we're going to do. Not really leave them a lot of room to be like, oh, I don't know. Like, if you're pumped, they're going to be pumped. But you have to stay excited and keep them excited, because when you get that momentum, it's just so much fun to work together.
Right. So you can't, like, first of the month, like, go to your leaders, be like, this is what we're doing, we're going, and then like 5 days later, like you're not even in the group chat, and like you're not even like posting every day because they're not even going to take you seriously. Yeah.
You're going to feel sometimes like your baby, but like you want to keep them pushing. You want to keep like, if you're excited, they're going to be excited. And so you just have to stay pumped up all month long and keep them really.
I love that. I love that. So this is kind of like a two-part question, so you can answer it however you want to. And you actually did answer the second part already, which is great. But what would you say your best tip is for signing bomb distributors, like signing distributors who are good off the bat? And then the second part of that question is like getting distributors started in the right way. So you kind of already answered, like, you don't like to tiptoe. You like to literally just like send them a Ruby chart, be like, this is how you make $500 a month. Here you go. So yeah, answer that however you see fit.
So I mean, we're always going to enroll people that aren't going to run, you know, and I think like the cream's always going to rise to the top. And sometimes you have to enroll 10 distributors before you get that one that's really going to run with you. But I was like I said, I've always looked at my charts, like every box needed a person. So whether I was enrolling distributors and I was just using them as a person, I can go back and stack later and like redo it. But, you know, you want to give everybody the same opportunity. So honestly, the way it kind of all just depends on how you get them started and their personalities. If they're going to run, they're going to run. If they're not, they're not. And there's not going to be much you can do to make them run. And it took me a while to realize that. I'm like, why are they not running? Why do they not want this? Why do they not want to make this money that I'm making? Like, and you will drive yourself crazy if you like constantly think about it. So what you just have to do is like the ones that are going to take off with you are going to be the ones that are asking questions. They're going to be the ones that are doing the things you're telling them to do. They're going to be the ones that are craving. Like I have a girl that I enrolled a couple weeks ago, and she texts me almost every day. You know, what I need to do next? What do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? What should I post today? Like she's hungry. You know, then you have those ones like, okay, do you want to make your post today? Okay, have you messaged anybody today? Okay, have you reached out to your family and friends and sent that message that I sent you? Like you can kind of get the feel off of your first couple of weeks on how they're going to do and how they're going to take off. So is what I do from the beginning is I don't on my phone, sorry. I was like, what's my phone say? I just kind of go from I'll just read it. Oh,
that's okay.
I send them. And
yeah, so we have two. We have like a step-by-step, like we have 10 basic, I call them like modules basically, but we have like 10, like here's what you send them first. Once they've done that, they're going to make their first post. Once they've done that, you're going to send them messages to start reaching out to people. Like it's like a 10 step. And when they get to the 10th step, you basically say like, congrats, like you finished your new distributor training. There's way more you're going to learn, but like now you know the basics. So like, you got
I gotta
this.
find the message. It's on here somewhere. But the first thing before I ever even do any of that is I send them a message. And I'm like, okay, so this is how I train. This is what I do. I'm going to match your efforts. So what you give me is what I'm going to give back to you. And then I'm like, so if you want to run, I'm going to run with you. If you want to walk, I'll walk with you, but we're going to go at whatever pace you want to go, but I'm going to let you set the pace. So that way, I said, before I ever even add them to the team page, before I ever even get them started, before I have to make them post,
okay,
put that out there. Like, if you want to run, I'm going to run. If you want to walk, I'll go with you, but I'm going to match your effort. So like what you give me is what you're going to get out of me. Because you have to make people earn your time. You have to make people earn your attention. You don't want to sit there and baby them all the time. And it really does help because they know what they're going to expect from me. And if they want my attention, they're going to have to be putting out the effort. And so that works really well. And then it kind of like how they feed off of that is how they kind of their response is kind of how I know how they're going to go. So some people will be like, I'm ready to run. Like, I want to do this. And then sometimes they're like, oh, well, I just wanted to do this, or I kind of want to start slow. So then you kind of know. But
you'll know right from saying like how much effort you put in is how much effort I'm going to put in. Like that very next message back is their response to that. So that's great. I love that. Let's incorporate that into our training, guys, because I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and you really get the feel of like their personality and like how they like respond to that, you know. So that really works well for me to know who's gonna run, and like of course their actions are speak louder than like
right,
but that kind of gives you the feel on like whether and
how and it kind of is. It's the same reason why like when I'm talking to potential distributors, I always ask like those few questions about like being coachable, like being willing to put in an hour a day, all these things, because even if their actions don't match it, like at some point they did say like yes, like, yes, I'm coachable. Yes, I'll work hard. Because it's almost like a verbal contract. So if you say like, hey, I'm going to put in the effort that you put in, and they say, yeah, okay, sounds good. In 3 weeks when they're not doing anything, like you're going to say like, hey, like I said, I was going to put in the same effort that you were.
Stage, of course you can. And so I even have to people that I've already signed that they were not really doing anything, and I just reach out to them, and my red kind of comes out, but I'm like, look, I believe in you. Okay, so Courtney Sharps, who like one day she was like, you give them the bread, you give them the meat, and then you give them the bread. Like you have to like
right.
give them the bread. So usually I'm like, girl, like I think you're so amazing. I know you can be, you have so much potential, but if you really want this, you're going to have to put in the work, because right now I'm not seeing a lot from you, and you're going to get, I'm going to match your effort. So if you want to do this, like I'm going to do it with you. And then just have to be blunt with them, and then give them more bread. And again, I think you're amazing, and I think you can do this, but
right. I really truly believe you can do this. I wouldn't be messaging you again if I didn't believe you could do this, but like I can't do it for you kind of thing.
So you kind of like,
I love that.
Oh, I always think about that. Give them the bread.
Courtney's so funny. I know. I love her. Awesome. Okay, cool. So then, yeah, I mean, we all know, but do you have any like bomb signing distributor tips? Because I know all my girls right now are like trying to like fill their charts as fast as they can. So
yeah, so it's what we do, and like what we've always done, and Courtney Ward and them do it too. So like the 1st to the 13th, we push for distributors, like all like that.
Right.
2 weeks of the month, we push for distributors, because you're wanting to get those boxes filled. And right now, you need to be taking advantage of that $49 kit, and that's the perfect way to get your charts filled, guys. The 13th, 14th, like the first 2 weeks, we push for distributors, and then the second half of the month, we push for customers. But whatever you're posting about is going to be what you're going to attract. So I know, like when I post like about the opportunity every single day, or blow up my stories about the opportunity, people are coming to me about the business. But if I'm only posting about products, then people are only coming to me as customers.
Right.
So you want distributors to come to you, you have to be posting about the business. And I usually try really hard to like mix it up. So some like once or twice a week, I'll be like, I'm looking for 3 people that are looking to make an extra 500 to 2,000 plus a month. Like one of those posts, like I'm looking for
kind of a more like generic, like now hiring, quote unquote. Yeah.
Tell them to text, set it up. They're interested. Like you want to mix it up between personal posts and like I'm looking for this many people, or they're offering this. Like you kind of just want to keep a mixture of it going. But whatever you're posting about is going to be what you're attracting. So if you're only posting about products, people aren't going to think about the opportunity. You have to put something out there that they want. So if you're looking to sign customers, you don't post about the business 24/7, because you have to show before and after pictures. You have to show the products and show how they work if you want to bring in customers. So whatever you're posting about, whatever you're putting out there is going to be what you're attracting. I don't personally message for distributors, just because when I don't feel like I get very good quality distributors, because like the ones that come to me are the ones that need it, and the ones that are intrigued by it. If I reach out to them, no. And so I feel like I get more quality distributors when they're coming to me. But whatever I'm focused on is what I'm attracting. And so I just keep things really simple when I'm having the conversation. Like you all probably have the same conversation. Like I literally keep it simple, tell me about yourself.
And then at the end of the conversation, like if they're like, I don't know, like let me think about it. We've just been doing like the phone calls that we came up with in September. Then we say, okay, well, if they're still skeptical, if they're still like not biting the bullet, like get them on the phone.
Yeah. And honestly, like I used to be terrified of getting on the phone, but if you can have a 5-minute conversation versus a 2-day conversation via text message, I promise getting on the phone will completely change the game. Or even voice messaging. Like I get so much
and we have it on Instagram too now, which is the bomb. So they can hear your voice too.
Think about hearing your voice makes you feel so much more personable, and like they trust you more if they can hear your voice, because you can tell a lot about somebody based off their voice and their excitement and like how they're like talking to you.
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so this is my last question, but I think you'll have kind of a long answer. So, well, you kind of told me already though. I said, what does the promotion month look like for you? So you kind of just said like the 1st through the 13th, you're pushing for distributors, filling that chart or stacking that chart if your chart is already full. And then the 14th through the end of the month, you're going hard for customers.
Yeah. And I mean, so if my boxes are filled, of course I'm going for customers, but if I have dead boxes, then I'm working on either stacking those boxes and replacing them as a 400 box, because if you're going for a promotion and you have like a dead box that's active, but it has a 200 volume, you can enroll a distributor and move it under that person. And then some people like are against that. And I'm not going to build the person that's not working, but you can stack it for the volume for that month and then replace it. I mean, because either way, compression is going to happen. So regardless if you put it in a brand new box and get them to 400, or you like put it under someone that already has volume, you can still use that person, the new distributor, without using the old distributor, because for that month you're able to use their volume together and then just use the new distributor for future promotions and stuff, because it's going to be the same thing as compression happens, you know, like.
So Paige, what she's saying is the person can be not working at all, but only if they have like 200 volume. So if you have a distributor who's not working at all and doesn't have any volume, then there's no reason. Just
two box.
Yeah.
But if they have 150, 200 volume, that's going to be less volume you're going to have to get for the promotion. Then like if compression is going to happen, you're going to use that person anyways.
Right. And you're going to get them started. You're going to get them excited. You're going to give them a Ruby chart. So hopefully they'll be that person who's going to just fill that box themselves.
Yeah. And we do a chat. So like when I was going, I'll just kind of get back to the basics. Like when I was going diamond on my 2.0, I had my girl going emerald and her 2 rubies. And then I had, and the 2 executives. And then the other ruby that I was using, and then her executive. And we just the leaders. So the 400 boxes, just the leaders. And we put like I created the like, her name was Kelsey. So it was like Kelsey, and then her ruby, their executives, like everybody's names and like who they were responsible for volume and how much we needed. And every time someone enrolled a customer, they copy and pasted it into the chat and updated the volume. So we always knew who needed what. And so if you marked off your 2 400 boxes, you could go to the next person and start helping them with theirs. But doing that, we kind of like cheered each other on. We pushed each other. We would Zoom a lot during the week.
Yeah.
Having that in that chat, we always knew like who needed what and how close we were to marking people off.
I love that. So yeah, so a promotion month, like what are you, I mean, I know you said it, and I know that like those of us who have gone diamond and above, like we know like a promotion month looks like no Netflix, no shower, getting takeout. Like that's just what it looks like. It looks like hustling hard and reaching out to as many people as you can. And
like, I don't know if you guys are married, if you are married or have like serious relationships or whatever, but when you're in a promotion month, I cannot like fathom like how important it is to communicate with your spouse. Like me and Ryan have always really, which we've been together almost 11 years, but we are so good with communicating. If I'm going to be promoting in a month, we sit down, I'm like, this is a promoting month for me. I'm going to get a $10,000 bonus. This is what I'm going to be doing. So if you see me on my phone, if you see me working at night, like this is what I'm going to be doing. And this is what I expect from you. And he like, it's just like communication. It goes so far.
It's better than being halfway through the month and he's like pissed because you haven't been spending any time with him. And then you're like, no, dude, like I'm promoting this month. Hello. And he's like, well, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that. So I agree.
Ryan's so good about like helping with Riker those months, or like if I cook dinner, he cleans up the kitchen. Like, well, we'll eat together and then I'll go do a call, do a Zoom, and he picks up the kitchen. Or, you know, he knows that like laundry might get piled up. If he needs something, he's going to have to ask, you know, so communication goes so far, regardless if you have a boyfriend or like if you have anybody that, you know, relies on you. It's just really important. If you have older kids that understand, just let them know mom is promoting. This is what it's going to do for our family. Have family meetings, you know, those promoting months are not easy. So you have to decide at the beginning of the month what you're going to do and make it happen, and then communicate to the people that need you to communicate with them and let them know like what they need what you need from them, and then what they should expect from you, because it keeps, if the whole house is happy, everything is like goes way more smoothly.
It's going to be and you're going to feel like you're not, you know, because that's something that I know a lot of moms and a lot of people in serious relationships, or even just people with like other jobs that they love, like they end up feeling like they're like neglecting other parts of their life. But it's like, if you just can get into that harmony of like, when you're in your business, you're all in with that. But then when you're with your family, when you are eating dinner with your husband, you're not on your phone eating dinner with your husband. The phone is away, you're eating dinner, and then you're going to go back to it.
See, that's mine and Ryan's rules too. Like at dinner, like I cook dinner, he comes home from work, like we're at home, and when we sit down and eat dinner, it's just me and him and Riker. Like I don't bring my phone to the table, he doesn't bring his phone to the table. It's just kind of our hour, really. And people know that from like 6:30 to like probably 8ish that I'm probably not going to be communicating very well. But that's my time to be like, how was your date? What happened today? Like just a little bit of conversation before we get ready to go to bed and I get on a call or training. And like I don't take my phone to the table. And so we know that like dinner is like our sacred ground for our
And it makes it a lot easier when you say that to them. Like when you say like, hey, I'm from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm going to be working, but from 6 to 8, I'm all yours. Like those 2 hours, like I'll plug in with you. We can watch a movie, we can whatever. But at 8 o'clock, I'm going to go sit in bed and I'm going to be working for a couple of hours.
Rachel Jones, like she said, you know, I think it's like 6 to 8 or it's like 5 to 7. Like it's time with her kids, and her team knows that like she's off limits.
She's gone. Yeah.
At 7 o'clock, it's game time. She'll be on the Zoom, she'll be on the training, she'll be on the call, like whatever. But at 5 to 7, she's not looking at her phone and she's not responding. So it's almost having work hours. You know, there might be a few hours, but you have to set aside some for you and your spouse or your kids. And I think setting aside that personal time will really help you in those promoting months, because 1 or 2 hours a day is not going to kill your promotion, but give it 110%, and it's really going to help your wife guilt or your mom guilt.
Right.
You have to do that during those promoting months, because having some you time, like is what I've always done too. Like before I was married and had kids, if I was promoting or working, I would like give myself a goal that day or that night. Like I love bubble baths or like love watching that. So if I got like, okay, I'm going to get 2 customers by 9 o'clock. And if I get them by 9 o'clock, I can go take a bubble bath.
Like, that's perfect. Yes.
My favorite show. You have to reward yourself for your hard work and really make sure you're focusing on you and your spouse and stuff. But just make sure your team, you just communicate with your team and your family or whoever you communicate with. And that's going to make your promotion so much more rewarding and smooth, because like there's not going to be unmet expectations.
Right. And that being said too, I think it's super important to realize like, yes, promoting months are like hard and can be stressful and you're going to have to do a lot of work, but that doesn't mean you're working 24/7. It just means the work that you are doing, the time that you are taking, needs to be laser focused on your income producing activities, on the people that are in those promotion positions where everyone knows who they're working with, which boxes they're working with, which boxes they're trying to fill. So that when you pull up your phone at 8 p.m. to get your stuff done, you're not like trying, you know what I mean? You're not like trying to, oh, well, what do I even do? You get out your phone, you're like, I know exactly what I'm doing.
And I always make to-do lists. I'm a list person, but even if
Me
it's
too.
something I'm going to do that day, I like to mark it off. So whether it's message 100 people, and then under that I'm like 25, 25, 25, 25, because I do it in segments, you know, and then add 50 people to Facebook, and then I'm like 10, 10, 10, 10, you know, like, and I'm as I complete it, I mark it off, and that like makes me feel more accomplished at the end of the day. But I know what I need to get done, and even though it's just already in your head that I'm gonna post today, I'm gonna post to my story, I still put that on my to-do list. That way I mark it off, and I know like at the end of the day I can look at my list and be like, I got stuff done.
Absolutely. And I think too, like it can be hard, especially like New Year and like the push, and like you have these promotions in your head. And I mean, there's a reason that we do like a 90-day push. And I think at the end of the day, it's just really important to base your success based on that list of to-dos, and not necessarily like getting so like psyched out on like who you did or didn't sign that day. You know what I mean? Because if you're doing your daily stuff that you need to be doing during a promotion month, sending your messages, making your posts, like it's going to happen, and you have to have that mindset. So if you know that you sent 200 messages and posted twice and added to your story and checked in with your team, just because you didn't sign a customer today doesn't mean you need to like freak out. Your promotion's not going to happen.
Like don't count yourself out to the last couple of hours of the month. Like you cannot count yourself out, because there might be times like a day or two that I don't sign anybody and I'm like in a funk, and then all of a sudden on like say a Friday or Saturday I'll sign 10, you know, because you've planted those seeds, and you talk to so many people that all of a sudden they're going to come to you at once. And you know, so
well,
that's
I remember last January I was like ready to go, and then I like didn't sign a distributor for the whole first 2 weeks of the year, and I was like literally having a panic attack, and then I signed 9 before the end of the month. Like in 2 weeks I didn't sign any, but then in 2 weeks I signed 9, and I was like, why was I like so freaking out? Like, it's fine. I know I'm doing what I need to be doing, and reaching out and being a good leader. So just having that faith in yourself that you know when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
So.
And you want to be able to look at the month, and even if you say your promotion doesn't happen, because there's been months I was going for a promotion, then it didn't happen. Like I fought for ambassador for a few months before it actually happened. And you can't change the goal. You might change the time frame, but don't change the goal. But you want to be able at the end of the month to look back and know that you did everything you could to make it happen and you just missed it, rather than being like, I should have done this or I should have done that. You want to be able to look back and be like, I'm still proud of what I accomplished because I worked so hard throughout the entire month, rather than being able to go back and be like, oh, I should have done this. If I would have done more of this, that would have happened. Like, you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure at the end
And the harder you work this month, even if you don't hit it, you're just going to be that much closer next month or the month after. So you can't wait until you're 200 volume away to bust your butt. You'll never get that close if you don't. Perfect. Well, that's all the questions I have, unless my girls have other questions. But this was fantastic, Kortney. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, Marissa's best friends with Kelsey, so she was just excited she heard her name. We all stayed with her in Michigan. It was a good time. Yeah. So thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for getting on with us. I hope you guys got so much out of it. I hope you guys are feeling fired up by Kortney and her passion and her excitement. Those of you you're going to conference, right, Kortney? So those of you who are coming to conference, I will do the introduction. So we'll see you there. I can't wait to squeeze you. We'll both be like 14 weeks, which is so fun.
Dude, okay, so I didn't realize you show super like a lot faster with your second one. I feel like I'm already like, so like when I was 16 weeks, like with Riker, you could barely tell I was pregnant. Now like it can't even fit into my jeans. I already tell I have a bump. I'm like, dude, like this is not.
I know. Oh my God. I'm not showing like at all, which is why I was shocked when I was farther than I thought I was. But I'm just, I still can't button my jeans though.
Probably would go to like 17 weeks.
I know.
Like 12 tell that I'm pregnant, and I'm like, I'm glad you can tell, like at the same time, because like I don't just feel like it's just bloated, but like,
right,
dude, I can't breathe.
Oh my God, so funny.
In that arena, like,
I know walking up and down the stairs with the Amelie is gonna be interesting, but that's all right. I know. Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much, Kortney. Thank you, team. I love you guys. We're getting back on this number to do a work Zoom in 10 minutes. So I will see you all there.
Make sure you say hi.
We will. Bye, Kortney. Thank you.
You're welcome.